footsteps stop right outside my door. I think they have the wrong apartment. Then the handle moves. Not all the way, just enough to check if it's locked. I don't move. I wait for the steps to continue down the hallway. They don't. A light knock comes next. Not in the center, lower, close to the handle. I stay where I am and listen. Nothing. No footsteps, no voices. I look at the clock on the microwave. It's past 2 a.m. The TV is still on behind me, the sound low, flickering against the cabinets. I mute it. Now it's quiet enough that I can hear it. Breathing, very quiet. Right on the other side of the door. I stand up slowly and cross the room in my socks. The floor is cold. I stop just short of the door and listen again. Nothing. I lean toward the peephole. The hallway is empty. The motion light above the stairs is on, which means someone is still out there, or just was. I keep looking. The light doesn't turn off. Then it does, all at once. I check the lock. Deadbolt is turned, chain is on. I step back. The TV light keeps moving across the cabinets. I don't sit down. I just watch the door and wait for the light in the hallway to come on again. The same footsteps come back, slow enough that I can count them. 1, 2, 3. Then they stop in the same place. This time there is no knock. The handle doesn't move. I walk to the kitchen and take my phone off the counter. No signal bar changes, no missed messages. I open the camera app instead and turn the sound off. I walk back and point the phone at the peephole, trying to line it up. It takes a second. When it does, all I get is a warped circle of the hall. Empty again. I lower the phone. Then I hear breathing. Not loud, not heavy, just close. So close it sounds like it's on my side of the door for a second, then outside again when I shift my head. I step back without thinking. The chain on the door is still hanging straight. I watch it because it's the only thing in front of me that would move if someone pushed. The breathing stops. I stand still. It starts again. I put my hand on the deadbolt and stop moving. The breathing gets clearer. One inhale, one exhale, slow. I turn the lock half an inch by mistake. The metal clicks. The breathing cuts off in the middle of it, not after. In the middle. Like whoever is out there knows the sound before the bolt finishes moving. I wait. The hall light goes off. I look through the peephole again. Nothing there. But on the floor outside my door, where the light from my apartment reaches under the gap, I can see the shadow of 2 shoes. I back away from the door and grab my keys from the bowl near the sink. My car keys on the ring and a small flashlight I never use is clipped onto it. The batteries are weak. The beam looks yellow when I test it against the wall. I call my neighbor across the hall, straight to voicemail. He works early shifts and is usually asleep by then. I type a message instead and send it. No reply. The hallway stays quiet long enough that the building starts making its normal sounds again. Pipes, a fridge humming in another unit, the elevator cable pulling somewhere below. I move to the bedroom and pull on shoes. The front room feels too open now. I take the flashlight, unlock the door quietly and leave the chain on. Then I open it 2 inches. The hall is empty. The motion light is on again. I look left toward the stairs, right toward the elevator. Nothing. I close the door and latch it. I wait with my eye at the crack where the chain holds in the door. Still nothing. Then I hear steps at the far end of the hall, near the stairs going down. I listen to them, hit each step. 1, 2, 3. The stairwell door slams shut before the steps reach the landing. I stop counting. I open the door wide on the chain and look towards the stairs. The stairwell door is already closed. No one is near it. I shut the door fast enough to rattle the frame. My phone buzzes in my hand. It's my neighbor's reply. Just 3 words. I'm not home. I lock the deadbolt again and back into the kitchen. The message stays on the screen while I read it twice. Across the hall is empty. I know that now. The older woman at the end of the corridor left this morning with a suitcase. I saw her by the mailbox. That leaves the unit beside mine. I don't know that guy there. I've seen him once in 6 months, carrying bottled water up the stairs. I go to the sink and fill a glass without taking my eyes off the door. The tap sounds too loud, so I shut it before the glass is full. My hand hits the rim on the counter and water spills over my fingers. Something touches the door. Not a knock this time. A slow pressure. The wood makes a short sound low near the lock. I set the glass down. Another little push comes. Not enough to shake the chain, just enough to let me know the weight is there. I step forward, press my palm flat against the door. There's a second of nothing. Then pressure answers from the other side. It's not hard, it matches my hand. I pull mine away. The pressure stays for 1 breath, maybe 2, then leaves. I crouch and look at the gap under the door. No shoes now, just darkness and the line of hallway light. Something wet drags across the outside floor from left to right. It doesn't look like a shoe. It looks thin, like the edge of a sleeve or a cord. I get up so fast the keys hit the cabinet. The sound in the hall stops at once. I hear nothing moving away. I go to the bedroom and open the window over the fire escape. The frame sticks. It always does when the weather turns cold. I have to shove it with both hands to raise it. The outside air comes in sharp and damp. The metal steps up black with rain. 4 floors down, the alley is empty except for a dumpster and 1 parked van with no lights on. I put my phone in my pocket, slide 1 leg over the sill, then stop. If I climb out, I have to leave the apartment open behind me. If I stay in, I keep the locks and walls. I stand with 1 foot on the floor and 1 knee against the radiator and listen. The front door handle turns again. Once, twice, then it stops. I ease the window down without closing it all the way. I move back into the bedroom and pull the door almost shut, leaving a narrow line so I can see the front room. My baseball bat is on the closet from when my brother stayed here last summer. I take it out and hold it low. The apartment is small. From the bedroom door I can see the edge of the couch, the kitchen tiles, and the front door. Nothing moves for maybe a minute. Then the chain goes tight with a dry metallic sound. I didn't hear the door open. I didn't hear the lock. But the chain is stretched straight, trembling once, as if the door is already being pulled inward against it. The front door moves a fraction and stops, then moves again, very slow. I step into the hall and see the deadbolt still turned. The door should not be open at all. I cross the room with the bat in both hands and stop 4 feet away. The door is open no wider than a finger. The chain is still on. The deadbolt is still locked. Cold hallway air slips through the gap and touches my ankles. I hear breathing again, right there, lower than before, near the gap, not the peephole. I look down. The chain is trembling in short, little jumps. The chain is trembling in short little jumps that don't match the breathing. Something pale slides into view in the gap and stays there. At first I think it's paper. Then it curls once against the edge of the door. A fingertip. The nail is dark, not painted, dirty or bruised. It presses at the gap and stops. I raise the bat without meaning to. The fingertip withdraws at once. Then the breathing starts again. Higher now, near the peephole. The distance changes too fast. I step in and slam my shoulder into the door to close the gap. The chain bangs flat. Breathing cuts off. I throw the top lock even though it's already locked, then the lower one, then check the chain hook with my fingers. All of it is in place. My phone is buzzing again. An unknown number this time. I answer without speaking. There's no voice, just air moving through a mouthpiece. Then a soft tap. Not on the phone, on the wood in front of me, exactly where my forehead almost touches the door. I move back and call 911. I keep my voice low and give the address twice because the first time comes out wrong. The dispatcher tells me officers are on the way and asks if I can stay inside a locked room. I tell her I'm already inside and the door is locked. While she talks, I back toward the bedroom again. The front hall light goes out under the door. Then it comes back on, then out again. The motion sensor is being triggered in short bursts, but I don't hear anyone walking. I tell her that. She says to stay on the line. The sound comes from the kitchen this time. A soft scrape. I turn. The glass I left by the sink is on its side, rolling in a wet circle. I know I didn't leave it near the edge. I keep the phone to my ear and move around the counter with the bed up. The window over the fire escape is open the same 2 inches I left it. The rain taps the sill. Nothing else is there. Another scrape, this time from the front room again. I round the counter and stop. The chain on the front door is hanging loose. Not broken, just loose. The door is fully shut. The deadbolt is still turned. The chain should still be latched. I don't remember taking it off. I tell the dispatcher someone is inside. She asks if I can see them. I say no. She tells me officers just pulled in. At that exact second, 3 heavy knocks hit my door. Not the low testing knock from before, real knocks. Police! I take 1 step toward the door. The dispatcher says, don't open it yet. I stop in the middle of the room. The voice at the door says, police, again. Louder this time. The dispatcher is still in my ear. She says, the officers have not reached the 4th floor yet. I look at the door and then at the phone, like that changes anything. The knocking comes again, harder, the same 3 beats. Open up! It sounds like a man, but the words are too flat, like he learned them from hearing them through walls. I don't answer. The doorknob turns slowly under the deadbolt. Once, twice, then it stops. I hear the elevator open at the far end of the hall. Metal doors, footsteps. More than 1 pair this time, fast. The motion light comes on under my door and stays on. Someone outside says my apartment number. That gets my attention because the first voice didn't. Then another voice says it too. Different tone, different rhythm. I move closer but keep the chain side of the door in view. Say my name, I tell them. Silence. 1 second. 2. The first voice says, we need you to open the door. Not my name. The dispatcher says, do not. Then I hear real footsteps running the last stretch of the hallway. The first voice outside moves away at once, not walking, fast, but with no impact sound for the first 2 steps, like it's already farther down the hall than it should be. Someone hits my door with a fist and shouts, police, stay back from the door. That voice is rough and out of breath. I recognize breath now. I back away and keep the bed up until the officer outside tells me to unlock the deadbolt and step away. I do exactly that. He opens the door from the hall and comes in first with another officer behind him. They sweep the apartment, bedroom, bathroom, closet, kitchen, window, fire escape. No one. One of them asks if I live alone. I say yes. He looks at the open window and the wet sill and then at the front door chain hanging loose. He asks if I unlatched it. I say no. He doesn't answer that. The other officer checks the hall and talks into his radio. I stand in the kitchen with the bat still in my hand until one of them asks for it. There are marks on the outside of my door near the handle. 4 pale lines, close together, not deep enough to be scratches, more like something damp dragged there and dried. The officer shines his light on them and says nothing. The hallway floor outside my apartment is wet in a narrow strip, as if somebody stood there in rain and did not drip anywhere else. My neighbor's door across the hall is dark and locked. So is the unit beside mine. The officers ask if I want them to call maintenance about the chain on the lock. I say yes. They ask if there's anyone who can stay with me. I say no. When they leave, dawn is still a long way off. One officer stays downstairs for a while because they are checking the lot on the alley. I lock the door after them and move the couch in front of it because the chain means nothing to me now. I shut the bedroom window and wipe the sill dry with a towel. Rain keeps tapping outside. My phone battery drops under 10%. I plug it in on the counter and stand there watching the charging symbol pulse. The apartment smells like wet metal. I go to the bathroom and splash water on my face, then come back out and stop. There's mud on my kitchen tile, not footprints. One long thin smear from the front door halfway toward the counter, with a second shorter one beside it, like something touched down, lifted, then touched again. It ends near the bowl where I keep my keys. The flashlight on my keyring is gone. I look in the bowl, under the mail, under the folded receipt. Nothing. It did not take it out of my pocket after the window. I know that because the keys are in the bowl and the flashlight was clipped to them. I stand there staring at the empty ring on the keychain until I hear a tap from outside. Not the door this time. The bedroom window, 4 floors up, 1 tap, then another, lower on the glass, as if whoever is out there has to adjust their reach.